come stand with me. This is our time. We're changing the world. We won't back down this time around. In every city, in every town. Whoa, we're changing the world. Can you hear our voices breaking through? There's a fire in our hearts seeking truth. Oh, we're changing the world. Oh, this is our time. We're changing the world. This is our time. We're changing the world.
Hi guys, it's me, Alex, your sassy dispatcher, your sassy instructor, and of course, that sassy person who is gonna change trucking for better. We have some difficulties right now, and I hope that my guest is going to figure it out, right? He has a problem with his connection. But we're gonna start with a preview. Why are we going back to lockdown, shutdown? What is the way to change trucking for better? I really would like you to be active. I want you to ask questions. I want you to actually start caring. Because what does it mean, unity? Unity, this is when people get as whole, united, right? This is a definition of the simple word unity. What can unity bring to somebody's life? Well, people can change, people can improve industries, people can have missions. So, why trucking is an industry that fail over and over and over? And why we have to pick and choose which mission to join? Why should we try to say, well, I'm going to go with this organization? No, this is not good enough. I've been paying there for years. They have not done anything. Why can we simply cannot get united? Because in the end of the day, all of us getting hurt. So I'm going to share my screen, and I did pre-recorded how we got to this point. As many of you have been watching, we had the live with 3 gentlemen from NADRA, Northern American Driver Resource Association. Yesterday, I was lucky to join their meeting because I want to be a part of their mission. I do believe in their standards. I do believe in unity. I do believe that we can change trucking for better. And we're going to go back to their first mission, sending 10,000 trucks to DC, just in a second. But you also know me. I am direct, I'm honest. So I am always bringing different opinions, different people, because we have to value each other's knowledge. We have to make sure that we do not just pick and choose, right? Otherwise, any mission is going to fail. So let's watch the screen. I'm going to remove myself and let's see how we got to this point. And hopefully, it's going to be 5-7 minutes recap. And hopefully, Liran is going to be able to join us. If not, I am going to simply call him and you guys going to hear me. I don't know how is it going to work, but we're going to figure out. So let's watch how we got here in the first place.
Guys, it's me, Alex, Dispatch Training Center. And today we had a big conversation about new association, Northern American Driver Resource Association. We had 3 gentlemen in studio live. And I also had somebody who wanted to join, but somehow due to the difficulties, he was not able to join. He did tag me into Facebook, and I want to see his opinion. Why he thinks that it's not going to work, because he's outspoken person. I do respect him. I know him, his wife. We also did the show before. And you know me, guys. I'm not going to just show you one side of the story. I am here to show you reality of the trucking. Unfortunately, it sucks. But let's listen to what he had to say.
Hey, real quick, man. I just did a live and then realized I had my buzz in, so it wouldn't pick me up. But real quick, man. Shout out to my homegirl Alexandra from Learning Dispatch today online. I hope I said that right, but she's responsible for a great group of dispatchers out here. Somebody that I've known for quite a while. Definitely a force to be dealt with online for trying to get things changed in trucking and things like that. If y'all don't know who she is, I did tag her to this live. Go check her out. Get on her page. Get on her YouTube. You know, she's one of the only people out here right now that's actually active in trucking and trying to get things taken care of, get things headed in a positive way for American truck drivers out here. A lot of people are silent. Anywho, I had the opportunity tonight to do a live with her and 3 representatives from NADRA or NADRA, okay, which is an American truck driver organization that they're trying to get started. I'll do this I don't know what was going on with the app, but I couldn't get in, so I was unable to partake in the conversation, but I did get in the comments. So I still was in the conversation, but I got in the comments and kind of did it from there. First of all, let me say this, man. I take my hat off to those gentlemen that are trying to get that, NADRA, get it up and going. I take my hat off to Miss Alexandra for, establishing the platform for people to come in and speak out on this platform. Anybody out here right now trying to help what's going on in transportation and trying to help us sustain and be around for the long run, I really do appreciate it because I've been telling y'all for years, they're trying to get us out the way. But this conversation that they had tonight, it bothered me. It really did. And I really wish I could have been in the live with Alexandra because I felt like she got caught. Several times I feel like she got ganged up on by these 3 gentlemen. She was asking some damn good questions. She was bringing up some of my questions in the comments and asking them, in my opinion, valuable questions. The one thing that I felt like we don't need, okay, so we already got OIDA and then I think it's NATS or whatever it is. We got several organizations that are supposed to lobby on our behalf in DC. This is another one of them. They collecting membership fees. They're saying that, hey, we're going to educate truck drivers and owner operators. We'll go on the behalf of owner operators and lobby in DC. I'm not saying that lobbying in DC can't work, okay? But OIDA couldn't get it done. So what we need another one for? And this the other NATS or whatever, they couldn't get nothing done, okay? Here's the thing with it though. In a time like right now, you're asking owner operators, company drivers, fleet owners to dig in their pocket, okay? Pay for membership fees, pay for a demonstration. They're trying to send these packages with trucks in them to DC. Basically bombard the government with these packages. Which I told y'all in the comments, y'all ass gonna go to jail if y'all do that because that is a crime. That is harassment. You cannot harass people through the mail. And if you send somebody a bunch of unwanted packages that they did not order through the mail, that is considered harassment. They can't put your ass in jail for that, okay? I don't think they actually put you in jail, but you can be charged with a crime, convicted, and most likely have to pay some fines. And depending on how far y'all go, they might try to make it worse than just some fines. Okay, so I know what I'm talking about. Okay, you can't harass people through the mail, but you guys are asking these people to come up with this money, and truck drivers right now are struggling to pay their bills at home. There's a bunch of truck drivers out here right now that have lost their companies. Okay, that have went bankruptcy. They've had to sell their trucks. Hell, there are truck drivers right now, they going home and can't even put food on their table for Thanksgiving dinner. And you're coming out and you're saying that we want you guys to trust us. We want you to help us, but we need your money. Okay? We need your money. And then we need you to give us a bunch of time to do this. Their exact words were, it took a bunch of time for us to, that we allowed a bunch of time to go by that got us into this, okay? It's going to take us probably double the time to get out. Who has the time for a long-term investment right now? Because that's what that is. That's a long-term investment. That's exactly what a politician does. A politician comes and says, hey, we're going to impose this tax. This tax is supposed to pay for X, Y, Z. Okay, but we need to collect this tax for X amount of time before we can actually follow through with what we said this so-called imposition of this tax is going to take care of. By the time you go years and years of paying that tax, by the time you get to that timeline and don't get what you was promised, you got hustle. And I'm not saying that these gentlemen are out here trying to hustle people. I hope that that's not what's going on. I hope they're true to everything that they're saying that they're trying to do. But what I'm saying is that that's not the answer. Asking our truckers out here, our fleet owners, our company owners out here to dig in their pocket to pay and continue to pay is not the answer. We've already paid for enough in America. We paid for this fuel, for this war that we fighting across seas. You see what I'm saying? We paid to keep America going through Corona. We paid to keep America going after Corona. We paid for enough. Okay. Now, I know a lot of people say, well, Boss Leroy, you turn them down. You got to give us a solution. I'm going to give you one. If you really want a solution, be inclusive and set up something in which everybody can get involved. Okay, I've talked to y'all about this before. Yeah, we got to get something done in trucking. Yeah, it's going to take a ton of us to do it. We do need to unite. But instead of asking these guys to dig in their pocket and give you money for you to sit on for however many years, why don't we do something simple like a lockout? I've talked about this before. TQL, we all talk about one of the worst brokerages around here. Why don't we lock them out? Why don't we all say, we're not going to haul for TQL? Okay. Nobody has to miss no work. Ain't nobody missing no money. And guess what? We're making a point. Because guess what happened? Say you do that for 3 months. 3 months is a quarter, right? They don't make no money across a whole quarter. What you think the rest of these brokerages is going to do? Okay? You do the same to these shippers. You run across a shipper they known for not paying their transportation costs? Go haul for them. Lock their ass out for a quarter. At the end of the quarter, let's see how their quarterly endings look. Guess what that does, guys? It sends a message to everybody else because they don't want to go through that. Oh, I better do them truckers right. I better do them truckers right because they'll end my business. Nobody will come over here and haul my freight. It line these brokerages out. You do a big one like TQL. You fuck them up for a quarter, for a whole 90 days. You fuck them up for a quarter. Every brokerage in America, oh no. If they did TQL, hell, they'll fuck me over. I better do these carriers right. I better do these truck drivers right. That's how you get shit done, man.
Well, here's the thing. This was a preview how we got here, right? So hopefully he can figure out how he can connect. I did offer a phone call, I guess. If he's going to text me the phone number, we can add him to this point. Well, we have different association. We have drivers who actually company drivers. We have drivers who've been doing it forever. And I am so glad that somebody can jump on my show just because my guest has a difficulties, right? I would love to continue this conversation, right? Because when you have an opponent, you can ask the questions. So I'm going to introduce to you Eric Bittinger from NADRA. I don't know his story. I just saw him yesterday on a first meeting. So let's ask him how long he's been in business. What is he? Is he owner operator? Is he a company driver? And why? Why he wants to change trucking? Isn't it easy to just give up? Isn't it easy to sit on a couch and complain? So let's welcome him. And he probably not ready for me, but he'll be doing okay because he jumped in 30 seconds and I appreciate it. Hi, Eric. How are you?
I'm good. How y'all doing today?
I'm doing well. Well, the reason of this show was because we had a show with our gentleman from NADRA and we were talking about the mission, the statement, what are we trying to do with those trucks, why we are using this instead of actually trying to send 10,000 trucks. But before we're going to go there, can you please introduce yourself and tell a little bit about your story? What do you do in trucking? How long? And why do you need a mission?
I've been in trucking since about 2011. Most of my background's been in oil and gas and heavy haul. After the last bust, I kind of walked away from oil and gas. I went over the road in Elias for a while. The bus before that, I took a terminal manager position just because, I mean, there's something to be said for consistency when freight prices are all over the place. But desk jobs really aren't for me. I'm a company driver now. Freight's low, diesel's high. It's just easier to let somebody else deal with the headaches. But
So, as a company driver, let's be realistic, you're not really affected because, I mean, your company can go bankrupt and you're just going to go look for different company, right? Nowadays, with shortage of the drivers, everybody's going to be begging you, please come here. We're going to give you bonus, right? So, as a company driver, you're not really hurt, are you?
I mean, I took a pay hit, but at the end of the day, I mean, I guess I look at stuff different. I'm a little bit more old school. If I like where I'm at,
Let's honestly say company drivers are in a great position right now. Especially, I am in Chicagoland. I'm spoiled. You cannot find a driver who is gonna work less than 75 cents per mile. They will demand 2022 Freightliner. They will demand that they have everything in a truck. They want unlimited miles. They want you to fake ELD, right? So believe me, drivers, company drivers in Chicagoland and most of the country are golden. So you kind of okay as well. So why do you need this? Why do you need a headache, Eric?
because if the trajectory continues, all of these small companies are going to fold. It might not be today. It might not be next week. I would say with fuel and freight prices the way they are and the regulations coming down, I would say somewhere in the next 5 years, all you're going to have left is mega carriers. I'm
So-
not going to go run for a mega carrier.
So
I'm
let's
not a
go
number.
back to his statement. So he said that, well, he respects the gentleman from Nadra talking about getting united, but you've been in the business for a long time. I mean, you grew up here. So did any shutdown ever work in trucking?
Not in my lifetime. In the late 70s, there was a shutdown that worked. They went about it kind of underhandedly. The unions pretty much said, you're going to shut down or we're going to shut you down. And it worked because everybody shut down. I know in the video you were just showing, he was talking about a lockout for certain brokers or certain shippers. The problem is there's not enough unity in this industry right now to do a lockout. Same thing with a shutdown. We can shut down 200, 500, 1,000, even 5,000 trucks. They're not going to feel it because there's another 3 million trucks on the road.
Okay.
We have to have the unity in this industry. And that's kind of what the 10,000 trucks to DC was about, trying to bring everyone together.
So, Eric, I do have a Matt. He joined us also like you. He dropped and joined. And I will try to connect this guy so we can continue this because this is an honest discussion, right? We're not here to bash anybody. We're not here to, but we want to see what other ways to fix it, right? So let me bring the Matt first. Let's say hi. Hi, Matt. How are you? Thanks for jumping.
Howdy, howdy, howdy.
Okay, let me try to see if we can add the gentleman, if it's going to connect, but hopefully it's going to connect. If not, his name is Liran. You just saw him on the screen. So Matt and Eric do belong to Nadra, as also me. I just joined you guys recently. Why you are so against lockdown? Let's say even for 7 days. Why are you guys thinking
Because-
it's never going to work? Is that just because we are not united at all, or
The
because
first-
you guys tried and people do not show up? Why? Or
The
maybe
first-
let's say, hold on, let's say we're not gonna, all of us agree we're not gonna take TQL loads, but we cannot control 3.5 million drivers. So I am not gonna take TQL, right? Let's say, let's get rid of TQL. Let's punish TQL, right? Eric, maybe his company may be mad, but is that even possible, or is this just talk?
The first problem is you would have to have an overwhelming majority of unity across the industry for that to be effective. The second problem is, I mean, it's been done. Lockdowns, shutdowns, convoys. If
But
you don't learn,
when the last one, because I remember we went to Washington. Lots of Eastern Europeans went. I have friends who went there, who were sitting there for days. Remember what, 2 years ago before COVID, or 2.5 already, right? Well,
Mhm.
nothing happened. They sit there. The news showed them week. I believe they were sitting there for a week, right? So
And
what was it even any positive outcome?
And that's the problem. There were some positive outcomes from that. It was a large show of unity, and it was the first step kind of in the direction we're trying to go. But you can't, if you don't learn from the mistakes of your past, you're doomed to repeat them. In an environment where there are tons of drivers, owner operators, and companies already struggling, to ask those drivers to shut down for 7 days or 14 days or until it attained the desired result, would put those drivers and those companies in so much more hardship that it's just not realistic right now.
But me, as a person who does a safety accounting, who sees the numbers, I can tell you this: 20% of people, if they're not gonna go on the road, they will do themselves a favor. They already running in a minuses. So for 20%, it would be benefit not to take those loads anymore. They actually going and deep into their pockets, and they cannot afford that. So they are putting their mortgages on the line. They are borrowing the money. They simply not doing maintenance. By not doing maintenance, right? Both of you are drivers, right? If you don't change the tires, if you don't do even preventive maintenance, what's gonna happen? You're putting yourself at risk, other people at risk, especially now it's a winter, right? Even buying the chains, making sure that you have enough chains right now. People don't have the money, right? So the statistics is 20% are running already in minus.
Yes,
So,
but
man, what
the
would
percentage,
You're not looking at the overall American dream, and that's what's got a lot of people fighting and still working in the minus, is the fact that we still want to be out here. We still want to run our companies that we've built. So a lot of these people are running into the minuses, hoping for the next month or the next week where the turnaround's going to come. The whole purpose behind a lot of this, and the more you look at the research, you realize the lower the rates get, the more that these people are going to quit. Owner operator are going to shut their trucks down. They're going to sell out, which is their absolute dream. Mine for 20 years before I started becoming an owner operator was to get in that position where I had my own, and I'll fight, crawl, scramble, whatever I've got to do to stay in owner operator position. And a lot of these people are, because they don't want to go back to those company driving jobs. They don't want to go back to where, and forgive me for any dispatcher that's watching, but these 20-year-olds are talking to, 20 or 40, 50, 60-year-old men and women and talking to them like they're children out there on the road.
Yeah,
We've
with
escaped all that.
with disrespect, with TQL
Exactly.
laughing when that's why I post that. TQL laughing at us, Circle Logistics lies, and it's just getting so embarrassing because, I mean, are you ex-military, if I may ask? Because you look, no?
10 years with 10 years fire department.
Okay,
Not
so
military, I did fire department.
but still, I mean, you can feel that strong man behind all of this, and that's America is a dream of opportunity. I
Well,
don't
and that's
ever
it.
wanna
That's
work.
what these
I
that's
don't
what these men and women are fighting for. They're praying that tomorrow those rates come up. They're praying that those fuel rates are going down.
but praying does not help now.
No, it most certainly does not. But that hope is what's keeping them alive and struggling when they're 20% lower than they've ever been before, and they're basically working for profits that aren't there. They're praying for that around the bend. They're scraping and crawling. Yes, they're barely making payments. They're barely making their car payment, barely making food on the table. But they're hoping that around the bend is coming and that somebody's going to stand up and help them.
Okay, so
And
Matt,
some of
That's
that-
kind of what we're based around.
so
and
let's
some of that-
answer this. Hold on. Sorry, Eric. Let's
Mhm.
answer this. I was shocked that one of them said, I know this association work. I have been in some of them. Well, because all of us at some point, right, we think that this is going to work, right? And I join you guys because I do truly believe that we can change the world. I belong to other association, for example, Women in Trucking. I belong there because I do want to empower women. So have you been involved in other association and trying to do the same thing and you failed? Can you tell us, or this is just now finally when people
No, I belonged to OIDA. I was a member of OIDA, but I didn't participate because I didn't believe that they were doing the job. And the more I looked around the associations countrywide in the U.S., I didn't see any that influenced me to step forward. None were fighting for the actual truck driver. The more you dug into the associations, the more you started to realize that the little man was being kind of counted out, where shareholders, stockholders, stakeholders were the primary focus on certain associations or certain groups. You saw some associations that were all about shutdowns and strikes. And when you do that, you cripple. You don't just cripple. You're not just standing up to make a statement. You're also crippling our nation. You talk to a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks shutdown. Yes, there's people out here that are 20% lower than they've ever been. They're struggling, they're scraping, but they still care about the American people. They're still out here pushing those rigs up and down the road because they know if they stop and somebody behind them stops and somebody behind them stops, our nation goes hungry. There's children out here that are going to pay the price. To me, you have to have a very cold heart to realize that you stop your rig to make a point. Your rig probably fed, in that week's time that you shut down, probably fed 100,000 families with the food that you could have been delivering. And now, those families don't have it.
I mean, look at the truck drivers due to the COVID, right? Everybody was home. Everybody was dealing with this, but who was still supporting everybody's American truck drivers? And remember the rates? They also were not even compare what they're supposed to do, because the drivers still risking their lives. We had a lot of drivers actually who did die from COVID. You guys were risking. People got millions. People got millions in small business. Why? Those money or some programs were not actually helping people who were delivering. Everybody.
We did have help, and we got to remember that the community, there's a lot of communities out there in the United States. Eric saw them, you saw them, I saw them, that went out of their way with home cooked meals and went out to the street and fed those truck drivers, because we didn't have operational food, in the truck stops. A lot of places were closed down. A lot of people stepped up to the plate. But the truck driving community is good when we're needed. We're forgotten about as soon as that need is over.
Okay.
And that's just the way it's been. That's the way it's been for decades.
And but also, on the other hand, you guys did your part. You were helping people. You were delivering. You were organizing the food. But how many mega carriers, how many companies who got assistance? I know personally millions of dollars going and buying the personal Mercedes, BMWs, buying another house. That's why market, actually, because I'm also a real estate agent. That's why it went up, because they had the money which they not supposed to use for that, right? So we know how this game went. I mean, let's talk about our politicians. How many billions were made on that, right? How many billions? But the problem what I have all the time, and I can tell you this, I changed when I came to trucking. I used to be one of those people who would drive SUV and cut into the front of the truck because I was first, because of not knowing even the truck is 80,000 on a weight. You guys cannot just slam and stop with 80,000 cargo. So I thought, oh my God, I am cool. I'm just cutting in front. So even talking about this to your kids every day, right? To general public, I just really think we don't have enough coverage, realistic coverage. Yes, we have TikTok videos. You, right? Me as a dispatcher, go start doing this. We have other people who but trucking, real trucking is so harsh. Being a truck driver is not an easy job. Being a female truck driver is even harder, right? Yes, because you still have to deal with lots and lots of things. Being a woman and still taking care. And I don't say that, well, it's not fair for women to be there, but we have lots and lots of women who are there on the road. But safety, who talks about safety in trucking? Even the parking, nobody talks about it. But hours of service, all of these new rules, right? So Eric, sorry to interrupt you. What did you wanted to add to like this kind of
Well, the whole thing with the 20% of a people or businesses operating at a loss, if they work for themselves, like legit one truck organizations, like Matt said, they're still chasing the American dream. There's a lot of 20, 40, 60 truck carriers out there that are also operating at a loss that are fighting to keep their doors open so that those drivers can stay employed. And 20% at a straight up loss doesn't, those aren't even necessarily the whole picture numbers. Like, I know people that they might be operating just in the black, that any unforeseen incident, somebody runs into your trailer and puts you out of work for a few weeks, could be the difference in you being able to make it or not being able to make it. I mean, they've been grinding and trying to hold on for the better part of a year now, and every day it just seems like they're trying. It's getting a little bit worse.
It's worse. And a lot of times I say this, smaller carriers, when people come to this business, lack of education, because when markets was better, right? I don't know, Matt, you guys put money aside for your preventive maintenance right away, no matter what? Did you have
Well,
those
sure.
emergency funds? You have to. But a lot of people, they buy the truck, right? They jump into this because, oh my God, market was paying more. So they go without experience, even maybe dispatching, safety. They cannot even pass a new entrant audit because they don't even know, well, I opened MMC, somebody buy me insurance. They're hardworking people, right? But lack of education, I think this is another thing. Unity and lack of education, because I see that people just disconnect. We have different nationalities. That's one thing. But we have lots of pride. I don't know if you guys notice, but I have it in classes all the time. People come to me and like, well, I want to open trucking company. All my friends running truck. And I said, okay, so why didn't they tell you, right? The simple step, go open the MC. Go do the BOC3 form. Go get insurance quote first. See if that works for you, right? And they say, well, nobody wants to tell. And that's like another thing. Why not? Why something like simple, like regulation, the steps? That's why in my videos, I have like 230 videos and people say, Alex, why do you do it? Why do you give step by step? Click here, do this. Because it's simple information. Some people just don't know how to get it. But I think if, for example, Eric is not going to do mistake, you're not going to do mistake if you opening company, well, that puts two successful carriers on the road, right? So that means that these two carriers are not going to just try to survive and just book the load just because they got to this point. And let's be realistic. Does everybody ready to become owner operator?
No, absolutely
No,
not.
definitely not.
That's another big problem in this industry. You have certain carriers that hire inexperienced drivers or brand new drivers, and then 6-8 months on the road, they're finally getting a firm grasp on driving, and then they come to them offering them a lease purchase, and be your own boss, a piece of the American dream. But a huge part of any company is knowing your operational costs, gross versus net. And roughly, I mean, depending on what region you're running and what kind of truck you have, a break-even price is usually somewhere around $1.15 a mile. So when you've got freight running for $1.30 a mile, or in some cases freight running for 87 cents a mile, and the driver doesn't know, oh, I can't take this. This is going backwards.
Well, Eric, I don't know where you got the $1.15 operational cost, because we only have surcharge for diesel, and I'm talking about semi-truck and trailer, right? I don't know, not smaller equipment. The surcharge for diesel is 75 cents. Your insurance, your equipment, everything else, we are past $1.15 probably 8 years ago. 2 years ago, national average was $1.75. With people who are new, coming as a new business, because I'm also insurance agent, and equipment that they bought for $200,000 for the truck, $100,000 for dry van, their operational cost is $210, $215.
Yeah, I
You
can
don't
definitely
understand.
see that if you're still making truck and trailer payments for sure.
You don't understand that the end goal here is you got to look at all the numbers. The numbers basically state that over 70% of freight right now is handled by owner operators. That means 30% is being handled by mega carriers. Mega carriers are operated and owned by their stakeholders and their shareholders. The faster you push out the owner operators and get that to shift so that a larger piece of pie is in the mega carriers' hands, their stakeholders, their shareholders are going to profit. Now, how do you do that? Now, the way you do that is to get costs so low that you push owner operators basically out of business. And what they end up having to do is sit at home and look at, I still got a family to care for. Now, they can't operate their company, but they can darn well go run for a mega carrier. Now, that mega carrier is picking up the business that owner operator has. So that pie is getting bigger. Their slice is getting bigger.
But
So
Matt,
they're
they tried
gaining
this for
bigger as they
years.
go.
You know, they tried this for years and they will never succeed. You know why? Because again, we go back to foundation of this country. America is a country of opportunity. We all
Absolutely.
want to be our own bosses. We want to
Right.
own. We don't want to be. So that's why they never succeeded. But still, fuel, they still pay the same fuel now. Their trucks, even mega carriers, they are buying them for $200,000, right?
Oh, okay, but if we're talking fuel cost and
They
you're
buy
looking
in
at
bulk.
mega carrier versus owner operator, mega carriers buy fuel in bulk. They purchase that fuel in bulk. They actually offer you a fuel card that saves percentage off. So the mega carrier is not paying the same at the pump as the owner operator is paying at the pump. They're two separate prices.
And
The
mega
mega
carriers,
carrier is making more on the, they may not be making more right now, but the goal in order to shift, they're paying less on the fuel versus the owner operator. But if they can put that owner operator out of business, they can put 10% of us out of business. That 10% of that freight that we were hauling as owner operators is going to shift to the mega carriers, which is going to increase with the amount of loads that they're pulling. So now instead of 70-30%, it's going to be 55-45%. You see, they're going to get a larger portion of it.
So
We
then,
can't buy as an owner operator. You can't buy in bulk like they can.
we cannot.
and
So
mega carriers,
do you see how this? I mean, if you watch, the pie is going to shift.
Oh,
It's not going to be 70% because we're
As a-
going out of business.
As insurance, right? You have a mega coverage, right?
Again, there's a
Their
difference.
driver costs them 10,000-11,000. Brand new carrier right now, I don't see less than 18,000 to 25,000 per year.
Thank you very much.
and they
Your
calculate
first 2
profit.
years, as an owner operator are what they call your trial years. And because you're brand new, your insurance rate is between $18,000 and $22,000 for those first 2 years, provided you have absolutely no accidents,
No
that you
accidents.
have absolutely no issues with DOT. Everything is clean as a whistle. On year 3 is when you see the cut. But those first 2 years, most people don't realize getting into an owner operator position, they are your most expensive trial years. One mistake, and that trial moves to year 3, years 4, years 5, years 6. You can continue to pay $20,000 every year until you meet that perfect quota, and then all of a sudden it'll drop down
you
to
need
half.
to survive 4 years with no accidents, with having other drivers also with a perfect MVRs, no accidents,
Right.
at least minimum 2 years of CDL. And that's a mistake I see. People go buy MC and he works for somebody else. He quits, and usually they don't quit nicely, right?
Right.
He leaves your truck. He's like, oh my God, he got MC number. And
Right.
then he received the quote and he's like, and he might be even owner operator, but working under UMC, which is already 3 years, 4 years. So he's paying maybe 12, 14,000 a year. And then he gets his quote and he's like, are you just trying to make money on me? And as insurance agent, no, honey,
Right.
this is a reality. And
No,
then
yeah.
a lot of them, they cannot even afford to put down payment because remember, to start, you need to put at least now 25, 30% upfront.
Yeah, it's a
And
minimum of $4,000 to $5,000.
And
Second
that-
reality of being a dispatcher, how many people are going to work with you? 5 brokerages, including TQL, who will take advantage of you because you're brand new, 1 day in the business, 2 day. Coyote in 30 days, Inland Logistics in 60, XPO, you have to survive 90. In this market, this is a suicidal mission. Unfortunately, listen to me, guys, and I've been telling this since July. Do not go and open MC right now. Stay where you at. Even if you own an operator, stay where you at, because you will not survive.
Well, see, that's a whole nother problem. So to your first point, mega carriers also they calculate profit differently. Not only do they buy fuel in bulk, and they got bulk rates on insurance. A lot of them self-insure for the first million and save more money there. But they're also hiring student drivers, running on government grants, and a lot of those carriers will have 5,000 or 6,000 trucks that, yes, they pay the same price for that we do, but they also have 15 or 20,000 trailers. If those trailers, after they pay the truck and driver, if every one of those trailers can make $100 a day, they accomplish what they're trying to accomplish. That's why you'll see, I'm not going to say names, but if you pay attention, you'll see certain carrier trailers riding around on the back of trains
Oh, look
or
at-
loaded
you're not
sitting
gonna
in drop yards.
in America, which new prime, come on. I mean, we're not here hiding, right? So another thing, Eric, because they have capacity. So let's say they have 200 trucks, but they have 300 trailers. So what's happening? They have drop and hook, right? Their overturn is faster. Secondly,
Right.
now they can go and service those contracts because, again, capacity of the trucks and trailers. So when you negotiated those dedicated lanes, right? Well, of course, it's going to be higher because you are servicing a certain lane, right? So how can one show owner operator go to the Walmart and say, well, I am Eric. I'm a great guy. I really going to deliver. If I'm Walmart, let's be just honest, I'm Walmart. Maybe you know me, right? And I said, well, Eric, yeah, I would like to help you. Can you service my delivery to 10 Walmarts when you only have 1 truck, 2 trucks?
Right.
You
And
cannot.
to your don't open an MC right now point, you're exactly right. This is probably one of the most volatile markets ever to try to go out on your own. But with certain people trying to push this AB5 regulation, if it goes through, you're going to have hundreds of thousands of owner operators that are leased to other companies looking for those group rates that are about to have to go on their own. They're going to have to put that 15 or 20 grand down on insurance. They're going to have to go through the 3 months to get their DOT numbers, and then another 90 days before most people want to mess with them, 2 years before some people will mess with them. And then you have the whole other backside of that, where a lot of, I don't know a lot on general freight. I haven't been firsthand on the backside of that, but like in oil and gas, a lot of those companies are 30, 60, 90 days to pay. So now you're paying factoring costs on top of that. And if you're trying to get a good rate on factoring costs, you sign contracts that say if they don't pay within 90 days, you buy back the paper. But in today's climate, how many people can afford to buy back a $20,000 load?
Yes, but that's where the problem is, Eric, right now is understanding as far as a lot of things. You see, there are 2 different types of factoring companies. There's recourse and non-recourse. It all depends on who you actually cope with and who you deal with. Now, non-recourse, anybody who doesn't know what non-recourse means, if you turn in a load and that's not paid on, a non-recourse facility doesn't come back at you where you have to pay that back. But the problem is, again, is understanding trucking. And a lot of people don't understand what they're signing. When you sign into a recourse, 90 days down the road, like you said, if that load comes back, it's $20,000, it's not paid, you have to reimburse that money. A non-recourse is just the other way around. If it's non-recourse and it comes back as unpaid, that goes on the actual factoring company, not on the driver himself.
Well, I will disagree because I also work for RTS. I'm agent. And Matt, believe it or not, it's always going to be a little tiny print. It's going to be barely, maybe you're going to get lucky with 1-2 loads that they will cover, because it's going to take the dispatcher check at that moment, right? If the broker was approved, right?
Right.
But you are right. When you sign in that contract, that non-recourse is going to be what? Is going to be higher rate. So when you have volume and when you really calculate how much more you're paying, sometimes it doesn't make sense. So it goes back to dispatcher knowing who to book with, not to book with, knowing who is in the business, checking the credit every time, not to skip that step. Goes back on dispatcher duties, right? But I can agree with you. People jump and they start calling RTS or anybody else. Yeah, I work for RTS. I switched 5 different factoring when I had my trucks, but people simply don't even understand the terms. They don't even understand, for example, I want to switch, let's say factoring. Do you know that you need to give like written notice 60 days, 90 days?
Yes.
It cannot be just, I decide now to go to this factoring. People
Right.
don't even read into the contract. They don't even ask the questions. Do we understand that it's kind of nonsense? You come to Draken where everything is thousands and thousands of dollars and you simply don't even want to verify how does it work?
Right. Well, and it's knowledge. There's not a lot of you know as well as I do, Alexandria. Eric Belia knows as well. There's not a lot of people helping one another out here in the community for whatever the reason is. I had a gentleman stop here last week. I actually educated him on the whole thing, let him look at his 1099 status versus owner operator. By the time I was done 2 hours later, the gentleman literally sat there and said, "This is not the time for me to get into owner operator." I was able to just show him all the numbers. And we need a lot more teachers out there that are in the trucking industry, that are boots on the ground, that are willing to take the time, sit down, have lunch, dinner, and breakfast with somebody and say, "Listen,
And that's actually,
you need to look at all the numbers."
Yesterday after our meeting, I was thinking, because, we were talking about memberships and what we can give back to our members.
Right.
And I was thinking to myself, well, I go on YouTube, I do all this presentation. Well, I actually can do for free and educate people once a month for all members on different topics. So people can
Right.
just join the Zoom meeting. Nowadays with technology, people can join, they can get educated. So this is something which can be offered back to members, to supporters, because without foundation, without understanding, I don't think we're ever going to succeed with any mission, right?
And
So,
I think we should make that available to our members, but I don't think that should be a requirement. Like that you have to be a member in order for that. Across all of my platforms, anybody out there that's a trucker, you're a trucker. You're in this with us, whether you're a member, whether you're a naysayer. If you've got a question, comment, not just, broad across the board negativity, but if you've got a legitimate question, a comment, you need clarification, or you'd like to tap into my experience, there's nobody out there I won't help. I've gone back out in my personal vehicle to make sure that, somebody could get off the side of the road.
but we can look at the bigger picture, Eric. So see, it's like something like, like most universities, they have like little education once a month Zoom meeting when people can actually be part, and maybe they don't have to be members to join that meeting, but they can see the value. We don't really care if they're going to become member, but if they are actually getting educated, if they are switching the way they run the business, it's going to help all of us. But let's go back to this. So Alicia said, well, automated trucks are coming to the industry. This is why they want people to quit. Do you guys agree with this?
I believe automated trucks are already on the road. We're seeing them in the south, or the south, like the southwest, running back and forth between Texas, lower California, Florida. We're seeing them across the I-90 up around the Ohio to Illinois area. The problem is we're just hitting wintertime. Some of these automated trucks that are on the road have only started coming on the road this year. This is the first winter that they've ever been on the road. We're about to see what these automated trucks really are about, or if they're going to be a danger to society. Yes, I understand that automated trucks is the future that people are looking toward. The problem is no automated truck will ever not have a driver in it. They will never be completely automated. If they do, I'm pulling every one of my children off the road. I will literally cut their license up in front of them and say, you're done driving, because I'm not trusting an 80,000-pound truck that runs on a sensor that big that says that they're not following too close, or it's going to glitch, or it's going to take out a family car that's right beside them because one little sensor goes wrong. They're all electronics.
I think it's probably coming, but I think it's coming a ways down. Like they're running beta tests between like Dallas and Houston.
Right.
That's a perfectly flat, almost perfectly straight, wide open interstate with relatively no traffic, most of the time no weather, no severe wind, no ice, no outstanding conditions. I think
Right.
the Ohio to Illinois lane will be a much better test with weather, but I challenge anybody out there that's ever drove a truck after like 2013, the model truck. Um, that it'll have a crash mitigation system built into it. How many of y'all have been cruising down the road in the middle of the night with your cruise control set? You go under an underpass and your truck slams on the brakes. Um, the crash mitigation systems, they've been running for years and have already tested. Can't tell you how many times I'll be running down the road, get 5 raindrops, and it'll say whatever that circuit is fault, and it'll turn off the cruise control. You won't be able to use it. There's just so many variables and so many things that can go wrong. I think we're a long ways out. I mean, and Tesla stopped working on the automatic cars because the auto insurance company said, we're not going to do it. We won't insure them. We don't care what the government says, which means even if they get the technology to a point that everyone's comfortable with it, the only carriers that'll be able to use it are the ones that are self-insured.
Okay.
Listen, we've been down this electronic road before. Okay. Anybody can look it up on the internet. Electronic cars came out a long time ago. If everybody remembers, they were actually recalled. They were towed. They were taken to a special yard. Anybody who knows anything about this and knows what I'm talking about, and you can research it, they were actually taken to a special yard and destroyed. Every one of them that was ever built. And I can't remember the exact year, but they were built, pulled, recalled, sent to a yard, and that was the end of them. I understand they're looking at green, and they're looking at ways to help the environment. They're overlooking the small things and they're jumping immediately to the big. If you want to help the environment, there are
look about this sun panels, right? So now
Right.
we're saving, but taking those batteries, and actually when they're gonna not be used, actually it's gonna hurt the planet even more than saving, because
well, you have charging packs. You have all kinds of units that you can slap on the side of your truck right now to keep from idling overnight. If they really wanted green and they really wanted to show a support for the American truck driver, they should have developed a program a long time ago that allows a truck driver to go in for a grant for $5,000 or $10,000 and have one of those packs put on the side of their truck where they are able to idle clean and save on the fuel. That wasn't even a thought in our government's mind. They skipped right over helping the actual American truck driver to drowning them. I don't believe they have any concern about the American truck driver at all. I believe what they're doing is gearing toward shifting that slice of pie as much as they can. If they were really wanting to help us, they would help us.
At the end of the day, there's no substitute for experience. It doesn't matter what industry you're in. I've got a bit of dispatching experience, but I mean, like you were saying earlier, if a dispatcher is not checking credit or booking loads that don't financially make sense, how long does your company have? It's the same thing with drivers, and it's going to be the same thing with these computers. You catch somebody that's been driving, especially if they've been driving the same truck, but you catch somebody that's been driving for 5 or 6 or 7 years, they can literally be driving down the road. They can hear something that's different. They can feel something that's different. They know, hey, look, I probably want to get this clutch checked out, or I've got a turbo leaking somewhere. I need to go find it. I don't care how many sensors you put on a truck. There's going to be something that computer can't tell you is about to go wrong, and you're going to end up with a bunch of trucks on the side of the road. No way to get them off.
Okay, let's
Yeah,
continue. Go ahead.
I just want to address Leland. After I said that, somebody that I actually respect, Leland Schmidt, a lot of years in the business. We all heard from him our last meeting. He stated that every state gives grants all the time. I was not aware of the actual amount of states that are doing this. The only issue that I'm not disagreeing with Leland, but what we need to do is find out who's giving the grants out, how to file those grants, and how to get those out to the American truck drivers so that they're made aware of it. If we can get that information, because we don't have that information. So few have that information.
About what?
If you can actually get with me.
Grants for the electric stuff?
For the, I'm guessing he's talking, there's grants out there for
No,
the truck drivers to help
he's
them.
probably talking because I went to Freightliner. My friends work there, and I buy my trucks there in Hampshire, Illinois, a few weeks ago. So if you've been watching it, I was driving electric truck, which is just
Right.
only have 250 miles surroundings. And yes, so the program is gonna give up to 80,000 tax credit if you buy and if you order, and different states have a different numbers. But again, even in Chicago with the traffic, it
Right.
only works for the kind of like last minute delivery. It only works for the local stuff. You still need to have the charging station, right? You need to have all of this. But I think we should just go in order, because now see we jump so we don't know what he was talking about. I need to kind of find his comment first.
Yeah,
But
he's actually talking about the grants for the APU systems for the side of the truck. So if he's got information on that, Leland, I
well,
see you're listening.
if he doesn't get the information, I'll get you information.
Well, see,
Yeah, get that information to us. We'll get it out to the truckers, man. That's huge information. If we can get more APUs out there, maybe we can get people to back off us a little bit.
But see, that's another thing. I mean, this is a great example. I mean, you've got people that are hands-on in the industry trying to do different things, and there's things that we never even heard about. There's
But
so
why?
many. There's
Why,
so
Eric?
there's
Why,
so
Eric? Is that because no unity, or because we have that pride, or because we pain? Oh, I know something, but I don't want to share. And
It's a
that's
little
what
of all
still-
three.
it's a
And
little
that's
of all of it, and it's a little of the government may not necessarily want us to know. Like they opened up comments on the electronic ELD chips, right? They opened up comments for that a week ago. They're already closed and pushing forward with whatever they're going to push forward for. How many truckers even knew that was a possibility, much less that it was open for comments, and they've already closed the comments.
Because again, we're going back to education. People who will need to be on top of everything what's going on. We need to broadcast it. We need to get united. We simply go back to unity.
Right. Well, unity is going to be core no matter what we look at. Leland and I started off, if anybody does, if nobody really understands, but Leland Schmidt and I actually started off on a bad foot. I actually have a lot of respect for him. He's old school. He tells you how it is. He's very, very blunt. He comes off very, very hard, but he's not dumb. He's very smart. Listening to him, you can get a lot of really good advice. But if we don't have unity, like Leland and I, we were able to patch things up. We're able to talk. We're able to share information as much as we can. We need that all the way through trucking. And believe it or not, if you've got a heart that's hardened off and you can't take and talk to anybody, then really just honestly don't leave any comments. Just hush, step aside, let the rest of us do what we got to do. Unity will be what fixes the trucking industry point blank. And without it, honestly, we're not going to get nowhere if we don't have unity. Nowhere.
Okay, I saw a comment about unions. Unity and unions are not the same thing. Unions collect dues. They have reps. They're a lot of times, especially in the North, it's closed shops. In order to have a job, you have to be part of this union. You're going to toe the company line. We're not suggesting that, we want 3.5 million robots out there that are going to just do as they're told and follow suit. We need 3.5 million people to care about the person next to them, to pull over and help somebody on the side of the road. To just because you're a company driver and fuel prices don't necessarily affect you this week, to care that it affects, another 1.5 million drivers out there. We need a united voice, but we don't necessarily need. Our united cause needs to be what's best for the industry and the individuals as a whole. It doesn't need to be that this company needs to do this because we said that it needs to do this.
We have a lot of work to do. Okay. The trucking community has been 30 years without unity, and it's been crumbling apart like a old stale cookie for 30 years. It's time to start over. And that's the hard thing, because 30 years of aggravation, anger, disapproval with what's going on with the government. Everything has torn the trucking industry to literally to shreds, and it's starting over from. It's like raising a child. You're starting over with a newborn infant, and you're trying to do it right without unity. Honestly, and it has nothing to do with money. Money is not unity. It doesn't buy unity. It actually creates a lot of problems. But unity without, is just a simple mindset. It's yes, we're going to do this, or no, we're not. Unity is a simple choice. It's just a yes or no,
So, Matt,
whether you're in or whether you're out.
Matt, look at this. Somebody's asking. So yes, brokers is one of the problems among others, but I would say they are the root of all the big problems. So can we
No,
blame everything on the brokers?
no.
Greed is the root of all the big problems, be it on the
Greed
brokerage side.
is the root. Greed is the root of all evil. No matter how you want to look at it, no matter how you want to slice it or dice it, greed is the root of all evil. Truck drivers turn on one another. We saw during COVID where shutdowns were attempted to be done. Some shut down, and as soon as some shut down, you saw the rates increase by 10 or 20 cents. Bam, the greed took over. People chase the loads. And it's going to be no different here. Shutdowns will not work because greed will always be there. You shut down, desperation comes in on the broker side. They bring the rates up so they can move the loads. And it's the greed of the American truck driver to say, this is my time. I'm going to chase after that load. And if we need to work together, we need to take the greed out of it. That's why I say don't shut down. That's why I say don't slow roll. That's why, because if you pull these things off, you're creating the scenario for greed to come in and divide again. By saying, no, don't do this, don't do this. You're putting everybody on the same page. Okay. You're eliminating greed and division. You're taking that greed out of the picture. You yell shut down. Somebody is thinking, if 50 of these guys shut down, that rate's going to go up. I can pull that load. I'm immediately on it. Now, if nobody shuts down, everybody's on a level playing field. There's no thought of chasing after a load. We do it properly. We build the unity in the industry. And when it comes time, when that last domino falls over and they literally stand on their firm, our government, FMCSA, ATA, whoever says, no, we're not going to oblige. By then, our unity is so large and so well built that if that line is laid down, we have something to stand on, unified. Not 50 here, not 10 over there, not 100 over there. We have a unified trucking industry. That's how we do this.
I saw the comment that said unions have accomplished more since 1942 than shipping toys. I first off, if I misspoke, I wasn't dogging unions. They have accomplished a lot and they've made a lot of things better for a lot of people. But at what cost? We talked earlier about the only shutdown that's been effective was in 79. And that's because the union basically told truckers they were going to shut down whether they wanted to or not. If we had 100% unity, be it a union, be it by force, be it just by mutual agreement, we shut down every truck in this country, who's going to pay the price? Not the politicians,
But
the
first,
American people.
not even about the price, Eric. It's we cannot get together even 100 trucks to.
But would we really want to? Yes, we need the unity, but we still wouldn't want to shut down an entire nation just to make a statement.
So let's go back. Why? Why this mission? And then
Simple.
Hold on. I will call this guy and he will try to fight with you. So you guys, without bad words, please. And I know he can get. Let's make it nicely. I don't want the YouTube start.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
You know, we have respect. Everybody has opinion. But before I call him, let's talk one more time. When is the time to send these toys? Why exactly we choose 10,000? Because it's a realistic goal. And I'm actually going to put the address right here, guys, so you all can see. This is the address of Department of Transportation in DC. But if you, Matt, can just reinforce what are we doing, how are we covering them, and why did we choose this instead of, again, trying to send physically trucks to DC?
Because it's a different way.
Unity
tried to
is.
take-
Go ahead.
They tried to take trucks to DC, and the cops shut down the Beltway, and it put people out burning their fuel, people away from their homes, people and all kinds of things. This was an exercise in unity. It's going to speak to about every trucker in the nation. First off, every one of them has some gripe with DOT. Second off, almost every trucker out there either has a family or has a soft spot for kids. We spend a lot of time away from our family. This was a tongue-in-cheek way to have some fun with it, bring a bunch of people together, accomplish something that's never been accomplished, and still support the community, help some children, and show the government that we will come together and we will be heard.
But
It's
instead of stopping on the bridges, instead of not delivering, actually this, a positive message with a good cause. Like you said, we have so much struggle right now. We have military kids, we have regular kids in each town who will benefit from this. And this sends positive message to even my kids, right? My kids had to go and they have to put a notice. So it teaches them something. So
Well,
me
how
as a
do you-
mom, I do support this just as a mom, not even if I wasn't trucking or not.
How do you combat negativity? You don't combat negativity with more negativity. We've got enough of that in this country as it is. So how do you combat negativity and make a statement at the same time? You combat it with positive actions. You start picking people up off the ground, not knocking them back down. By sending the toy, it may seem silly to a lot of people. Everybody might think there are a lot of people that might think it's a joke, but it's a positive, influential idea that nobody has ever used. You can't get 10,000 trucks into Washington, D.C. It's an impossibility. But you can get 10,000 toys into D.C., and 10,000 is a realistic goal to be able to make. Even with just our little group, we've already raised close to probably 1,000 trucks just within our little group. That's not counting the people that have responded to us. So already,
you did not count my 25.
Right, and I've got 7 here. So we've already our little group, just the NADRA, has already got close to 1,000 trucks going into DC. So it's not hard to realistically realize that there are others out there that will see this as a positive, uplifting message. Not only are we getting our voice heard, not only are we breaking the record for the amount of trucks that have been in DC in a funny, unrealistic way, but we're going to break that record, but we can also have our voice heard and then turn it right back around and hand them right back off to the kids who really deserve something under the Christmas tree. And every truck driver in the world knows kids mean everything to us. Our kids, their kids, kids are important to all of us. What's the biggest thing that puts a smile on your face when you're a truck driver going down the road? It's that kid pumping his arm up and down. It will make every truck driver's day. Let's get it back to kids.
But plus, we're gonna see probably some news coverage, right? Because this is not one truck, this is not 2 trucks. So hopefully we get attention. Hopefully we're gonna start talking and sharing the issues we have. Hopefully this will bring people together. So behind that, we are doing something out of heart for the kids, but we also do it in a positive way to see how people can even get united. Because if going and spending right now, I know that a lot of people suffering, but $5 is not going to change anybody's. And if you cannot, at least you can say, you know what? I support this mission. I wish I could afford it. Next year, maybe I'll do it, but doesn't matter. You don't have to go buy 10 trucks or 20 trucks, but unity starts with this little box. And simple as, if we cannot get people to get together on this level, what are we talking here about? Shutdowns?
You'll never, if you can't bring unity together on something simple and positive message as this, you're never going to bring them together on anything. People realize that NADRA has just begun. We are taking these itty bitty baby steps because we are trying to build the unity to increase and increase. Our bubble will never stop going. Okay, that's just all there is to it. Now we're going to get hit with negativity, and that's all right. The negativity that comes at us, we're going to pump it right back at you with positivity, and we're good with that. We're not going to get into a long, drawn-out battle with negativity. We're doing what we're doing for a reason. There's a purpose behind it. We believe in it strongly. Even if some people think of it as a problem, we can actually succeed. I know we can succeed.
Okay, Matt, I'm gonna call this gentleman and give him his 2 minutes because we're already going over time. Let's see what he has to say. And please, guys, make sure that we're not fighting here, right? We're just listening to
No, not at all. Not at
Yeah,
all. He's a
we're
fellow
listening.
truck driver.
Yeah. So let's see if he's gonna answer. This is his last chance. We gave him chance before. He was supposed to join you before. So let's hear. And I try to keep it close to the. If he answer, if not, then we'll finish on a positive note and we'll go on. Well,
Hello, you've reached Julie with the
okay. So we tried. Well, we were showing what he posted after he could not go on the show. We know that he's always just talking about just shutting down or boycotting maybe TKO. He's calling back. Hi, Liron. So you have like 5 minutes just because of all the technicality. We can hear you. So we have Matt here and Eric and me. So what do you want to tell the general public? What is your mission? And how many people behind your mission and how many people can go and lock down with you?
Okay, so real fast, guys, I support. I take my hat off to what y'all trying to do. I truly do. I think we do have the same mission. I'm for the betterment of trucking and truck drivers myself. I run a group on Facebook. It's roughly about 1,500 of us in the lounge. I try to bring awareness and teach, roughly the same thing you guys try to do. Basically, just to skip to it real quick, basically my biggest thing is, a lot of the stuff that you guys are trying to do, and not saying that it just won't, it won't work, but my biggest thing is the leaving people out. Anytime you come about and you asking for money, whether it's to buy a toy truck or join a coalition. I know y'all saying y'all not taking on membership fees for your coalition right now, but in the future you would have to be able to continue. In a time like this, I don't feel like coming out and asking for ways for people to get involved, which require money, is inclusive. I feel like it leaves people out, which keeps us from this so-called unity that we're trying to reach. I do agree. We do need unity to change our environment, to change our situation within our community. However, I feel like when that's the only avenue is to buy into something, you're leaving a lot of people out. Does that make sense to y'all? That's my
we're not leaving anybody out. The choice will be yours to donate and be a part, be a donation part of it. We haven't even begun talking money yet, and right now it's strictly a unity thing. Maybe later down the road we may have to issue it.
Let's just say, for instance, the sending the box toys to Washington, right? Think about how many truck drivers right now have been out here working their tail off. The businesses are going in the ground. They're not paying the bills at home. They wasn't even able to put a turkey on the table for Thanksgiving dinner. How do they get involved if they can't even afford to buy the toy truck, let alone put fuel in their truck to go and be part of this 10,000 truck rally to go into Washington? You are isolating because they can't get involved.
No, we're not isolating.
Whoa, hold on. First off, 10,000 trucks to DC it's the toy trucks. There's no putting fuel in their trucks to go to DC. Please don't misunderstand our message. Do not send 10,000 18-wheelers to DC. That will not end well for anybody.
Now putting fuel in their trucks.
I'm sorry?
Okay.
10,000 trucks to show up in DC. How do they get to DC? How does
No, sir. We don't want you to send 10,000 18-wheelers to DC. The 10,000 trucks to DC drive is the toy trucks.
Saying so even $5, $10, a lot of people cannot afford. Okay, so let me ask you this: so you want lockdown? So you want those people who cannot even afford $5 not to work for how long? Let me see your.
Here's the thing with the lockdown, and see, I think you misunderstood what I said. With the lockdown, you would be able to, or it's not a lockdown, it's a lockout. There's a difference. Okay, the lockdown would imply that you would shut everything down. I'm not asking for that because you do have people that have to be able to make a living. You do have people that are trying to keep their businesses going. What you do is which we all agree, any of these ideas we're coming up with is going to take some sort of unity.
Okay, so what is your lockout? So you want to start eliminating, let's say, big brokerages like TQL, like Coyote, like XPO. That's your lockout?
Exactly. Why not take the if you're in a fight, right? If you're in a fight, why not take the fight to the person that's hitting you? It's just like us saying we're going to run to the government because we're being oppressed by the government, but we're going to somehow do that by sending toys to kids.
Sir, I'm assuming that you own your rig, correct?
I own several, yes, sir.
Okay. Nobody in this country should ever be able to tell you how to run your business, be it the government, be it the people you're leased to, be it whoever it is. Me personally, when I ran my own truck, I wouldn't run for TQO, and it wasn't to make a statement. It's because I'm not going to operate at a loss. I feel like most educated business owners are not going to willingly operate at a loss. If they're pulling a load for TQL, it's probably because they had to get somewhere, or because they're a company driver that doesn't have a choice in what they're doing already.
I think you guys are just sticking to the TQL. The TQL was an example. That's just an example. But we all know, I mean, even if we're using that example, TQL isn't the only one that uses the tactics that they use against our independent truckers and carriers out here. It's an overall standard across the board. But let me finish real quick. When you get into a fight with somebody, okay, and you're trying to get a point across, you're trying to get something proven, a message across, you take it to them. You take it to who you got the problem with. If you're being oppressed and you're trying to rise up and get the numbers up in unity, you don't take this and go run to, for instance, like y'all want to go to DC and stand outside of Fox. Why you want to stand outside of Fox? What does that do?
Okay, let me ask you this, Lutheran. How many supporters do you personally have for lockout? Or is that going to be just you and you have 4 or 5 trucks?
I mean, honestly, I could ask you the same thing. How many people do you have for support and sending?
But I am just saying, so we can just talk, but the reality of this.
We're not talking about my numbers. We're not talking about your numbers. We're talking about the.
But we're talking about the reality. We're talking about reality. 2 weeks ago, I did fail. Hold on, Lauren. 2 weeks ago, I did fail because, again, I trusted that they're going to go to DC, that they have 400 trucks. Did not happen, right? Again, one example. Okay, now.
The argument that I'm making across the board is you can't just come out and say, hey, this is what we're going to do and this is how you're going to do it. Because first of all, you got a whole bunch of independent, not only owner-operators out here, but businesses, okay? You have to collectively come together, create an idea that everybody can get behind. You can't just come up and say, hey, this is what we're going to do and expect everybody to be get behind it. I'm not even saying that my idea.
Okay, so
you're 100%.
You want to have people to go behind, needs an organization. Somebody has to be in charge of organizing, putting information together.
You can be organized without an organization. Our ancestors before us, they got way more done than we've ever been able to get done because they were organized, even though most of them were not an organization.
You're 100% correct, sir. But here's the thing. So a huge issue for Matt personally, I know, has been broker transparency, which sounds like exactly what you're trying to describe without those words. There's already a law on the books that a broker is supposed to have to disclose all the information upon request. And as soon as you request that, you get blackballed. That's one of Matt's personal issues. It's been his pet project that he kind of took on and he wants to run with. As far as any lockout, any shutdown, any convoy, anything you try to do in this industry, you're going to have to be united. You're going to need that unity. We didn't just decide this. And as far as excluding people, we don't currently. And at least at no time in the foreseeable future, we're not talking about membership fees. We're not talking about pay to play. We've fielded questions on TikTok, DMs, email, YouTube, our website, anywhere, any driver, anyone associated with trucking and even the general public has came to us with a question, a concern, a comment, we've taken that back to the board. We've discussed it amongst ourselves. We've tried to figure out the best way to go forward with it. But our hands are going to be tied if this isn't a united industry. That's why we started with this 10,000 trucks, kind of get the word out, get the message out, and start bringing people together. That's just the first little bitty step in a long road of steps. No war was ever won in a day, especially when you're already when you're trying to take a handful of different armies and bring them together to bring them against an army that's already been established for the better part of 3 decades. It's going to take time to build the momentum to be able to accomplish those things.
And that's where I disagree with you. The one thing, that's where I think we're not being inclusive, and you're not thinking about everybody, because you have to look at the last year. You have to look at what's going on right now in current times. Yes, this didn't happen to us overnight. This is something that we allowed to happen, and you said that in your last live. And I want to address 2 parts here, if you give me the chance. The average owner operator out here, he doesn't have 2 years. He's got bankroll. He's got cancellation notices and repo notices now. You see what I'm saying? So 2, 3, 4 year plan for the majority out here is that that doesn't help them. And the second part I want to that I wanted to address is the organization. If any organization that you start is going to take some sort, it needs capital to survive, right?
Yes, and that's reality. That's reality of nowadays.
Let me finish.
Okay.
Let me finish. You watched our last live and y'all said that, well, right now everything is being funded out of our pocket. Hey, I'm not negating that. I take my hat off to you guys, but at some point you're going to need some type of capital to keep that organization going. I heard you guys talking about getting a business and putting an office space together and all of that stuff. That stuff costs money. Where's that stuff going? Where's the income come from to cover that? Because you are
okay. So let me stop you right here, Laurent, because we can stop and start picking on NADRA or any other organization. What is your plan? 1, 2, 3. What is your plan? Sorry.
You cannot come out and tell the people that you're not accepting membership fees, knowing that down the line you're eventually going to have to. That's not.
Okay, let's go. Let's stop about the NADRA. I don't care at this moment. What is your plan personally?
My plan personally, okay. First of all, my plan personally is to not speak for the entirety of our community. My plan is to continue to educate, which is what I have been doing, telling people the truth and giving them real options, okay? Real tangible options that we can get achieved right now. And starting a coalition isn't it. Anybody that wanted to get something done in the history of America, they got active. They formed a plan and they got active behind that plan. Okay, us crying and begging the government and begging these brokers and begging this person and begging that person is not going to do a damn thing. We're going to have to get active. We're going to have to put our foot down, and somebody's going to have to get a knot upside their head. That's just what happens, guys. That's how this works.
Okay.
You're 100.
To get active, to have people behind, we have to unite. You've been talking, I've been talking. How much did you succeed? How many people listening to your lives every day? Can you show me your success numbers? That because of you saying every day.
Alexander, I have the same success that you have. You're seeing, we do the same thing. We educate, you fighting to get people united just like I am. But I can't say that I got the numbers, just like, but you can't tell me that you got them either.
No, we're not. But I am just saying we are not here to fight. We're not here to pick on this organization or your organization. We're talking about unity right now. And even right now, when we're talking, we're just speaking, oh, this was not done. This was not done. This is not unity. Unity starts with getting together and understanding. This has, not only one thing has to be changed.
You cannot say you're bringing about unity and you're already forming plans that isolate people. If people don't have money to participate in your plan, then they cannot participate, which means they are left out. You are leaving out a good portion of the masses.
We have this organization
hold on, Andrea.
has no membership. It's gonna be donations. If you can donate, you can donate.
Andrea, if I may.
If you're gonna be a member of the consular, hold on, let me speak, please. So nobody talking about money. We can come and start backstabbing you, me, them. We're not talking about. We're talking about unity. Unity only can achieve any change. And this is a message. And unity can be done in different ways. It can be cruel unity. You take the guns and you're gonna start destroying cities, right? You can go and try to go and start bashing each other business, but we're not talking about this. So
Sir,
the guys want to connect with positivity.
sir, if I may for a second, first off, you're 100% right that a lot of owner operators don't have 2 years. That's the tragic facts of where we're at right now. But we can't. There's no way you can accelerate this plan to make it effective any faster than we're already trying to make it. As far as someone getting a knot upside their head, you're probably not wrong about that either. But we don't live in a 1980s or early 90s society where you take it out to the schoolyard and throw punches. In today's society, things are settled in court. They get a knot upside their head with a judge. We've already been actively ripping apart the mandates that are coming down, trying to find out the best way to challenge them. We already have paperwork going together to get this into litigation. There's
Hold on, Liran. He's finishing. Come on.
the drivers and the owner operators.
We can,
We have owner operators in our organization right now that are struggling to pay the bills. We've came out of pocket on different things to try to help people in our industry that are struggling. We totally understand the people that are struggling and the people that maybe they can't send a truck. But if they're helping us get our message out to people,
respect other person to finish what he's talking, I will hang up. Seriously.
if they're helping us spread our message and get that message out to people that can afford trucks, aren't they still being included?
Everything in this day and time gets done with court, and I agree 100% with that. First of all, do you know how much it costs to go to DC and lobby? Do you know how much it even costs to obtain a lobbyist? Do you know how long it takes them to go to DC and lobby? Do you know how long you're even looking before you can get any type of legislation in front of court?
Okay, let me ask you this. How long is it gonna take for people to do lockout? Liran, please. How long is it gonna take for people to choose lockout and say not take TQL or Coyote? How long? It's never gonna happen because people still gonna take their loads.
You're talking about a 20-year plan. A 20-year plan is what you're talking about.
But your plan is unrealistic anyway, too.
Is it?
Can I interject?
Please, Matt.
Yes, man.
Listen, I respect what he's saying. I understand what he's saying. Here's the issue. Here's the issue that I'm having with it, and it's not a bad issue. And I believe he'll understand what I'm trying to say. Is we are in a position now where 3 decades of truck drivers have tried and failed, and we've taken cuts and lumps and bruises and punches and blows. Some of them very low blows by FMCSA, DOT, things of that sort that we're not absolutely aware of until the blow comes. But here's the problem. We can't put a Band-Aid on something that needs stitches and staples. These shutdowns and yes, we are at a point. I'm an owner operator. I understand where you're coming from, sir. We're at a point where a lot of owner operators are on the borderline of losing everything and having to go back to mega carriers or continue to scrounge and lose everything at home. I'm absolutely wide open seeing all of that, me personally as being one of them. But I want you to see, this is just 3 bills. This is just 3 bills, okay? If you can't see them. That right there is just hours of service. That right there is just the parking. And that right there is just the speed limiter. That's just 3 bills that we've allowed to go by us over the last 3 decades that need full frontal attack. This is not going to happen with a Band-Aid. This is not going to happen with a shutdown. This is not going to happen the way you want it to happen. We cannot put a Band-Aid on this. This is going to have to be playing their game, their way. And if we have to pick up one another And this is where unity becomes the biggest thing in here. This is where I preach it. This is why I built this organization. This is why Jason Vind and I actually started this, so that truck drivers can count on truck drivers and we can help one another until things get to that point where we're all back on our feet and in a better situation. But we can't do that without unity. We can't do that without preparing for a fight that's going to be more than a few weeks old. A few weeks is all. You know what they're going to do? They're going to do the same thing they normally do. They're going to wait a week. They're going to say, okay, we're going to raise rates. We're going to drop fuel. They've done it to us before. And a month later, rates go back down, fuel goes back up, and they go right back to the same game they were playing before. It's a temporary fix to a very big problem that really needs time to fix. We need to back one another up. That's how it has to happen.
Until your 20,
100%.
until your 20-year fight, I don't believe it's 20 years. To be honest, I don't believe if it takes 20 years, I don't believe any owner operator in this country has got 20 years left in them. But if it takes 5 years, or if it takes 10 years, or if it takes 15 years, isn't it our duty?
Yes,
As,
he's talking.
isn't it our duty as Americans
Another fight.
and as parents and as grown-ups to leave this country in a better place than we found it? I mean, a long time ago, somebody said liberty is never any more than one generation away. And believe me, this is the generation they're trying to prove that in. If everybody just lays down and doesn't fight, what kind of future are we leaving for the truck drivers coming behind us, for our kids coming behind us, for a whole country coming behind us?
Okay.
If I can intervene real quick, with the first gentleman saying, Mr. Matt, I agree 100% with you. What you said, for is, you know, we do have to fight this fight the way that they want to fight. But my point that I'm making is what you guys are talking about for is going through the governmental process. It is gonna take quite a while. And if you go back to address what the second gentleman said, if it would take 20 years and no owner operator would be out here, go and look at what OOIDA's been doing for the last 20, 25 years, and they haven't gotten anything done. Okay, so it takes that amount of time to make my first point. My second point being is, yes, we have to have the numbers to even get to that point. We're not talking about a little pin cut right now or a little paper cut right now. You're talking about a gunshot. Okay.
But you are contradicting yourself, Laurent. You are contradicting yourself. So if you would listen to do anything, we need numbers, right? We need people behind. To get people behind, we need to get united. Unfortunately, by just talking on the phone, just by going live, you cannot get people united. We need to have numbers to change anything.
And to your OOIDA point, we actually spoke about this in our meeting yesterday. Initially, when OOIDA first came on the scene, they accomplished a lot. Still to this day, they have the best insurance in the industry. They haven't openly out in public really dug in on any major driver issues since the ELD mandate. But if they're doing their job effectively, how many things have they accomplished that we don't even know they've accomplished? FMCSA sneaks new laws in on us every day. So how many of those laws got stopped before we ever even knew they were a thing? And it looks like Matt's trying to say something.
Yes, Matt, go ahead.
I only want to say this, and I believe everybody can get behind it, and I think we can end on a very good note right now. The one thing that scares any governing agency, it doesn't matter how you look at it, is the people coming together as one. Okay. Unity will speak volumes. Yes, we're using something that's a little original, something that's that may mean, you know, spending $5 or listen, I know people are tight. All you have to do is buy a Matchbox for 99 cents. And it costs nothing to ship something like that small. You can actually put stamps on an envelope to ship something that small. It doesn't have to be a large truck like a lot of us are getting. It can be anything small, but when you take a governing agency and they're looking at right now the trucking unification right now, they see that there are fragments all over the continental U.S., Canada, Mexico that are battling themselves. And they know that we cannot unify. They know it. They've been laughing at us for decades because they know that our egos are mindset, our work ethics, something's battling one another. Every single time we're button heads. And Washington, wherever you want to look in this country, they're laughing at every last one of us because we can't bring owner operators and drivers or company drivers, lease operators, heavy haulers, flatbeds, van drivers. We can't bring them together. So what's the major, when you look at NADRA, there's a lot of things that you can look at. Our core, our absolute core is to take all those individuals and bring them back. Because once you stand united, once you can stand firmly as a trucking association, as a industry together, and everybody is, and visually, obviously, everybody is standing shoulder to shoulder, heel to toe, front to back, side by side, and they look out and they see that. Now picture that. If they see the industry coming together, unified, what is that going to do for that any organization that has been picking on the company or the trucking industry for 30 decades? That is going to scare the living bejesus out of all of them. They're going to sit there and say, we've had them divided for 30 years. Holy monkey, they're all coming together. That's going to scare them. I don't want, and this isn't a threat, but when you have that many coming together on the same issue and standing together, no matter skin color, no matter religion, if you're pushing an 18-wheeler up and down the road, you're one of ours, a brother, a sister, it doesn't matter. Once you become unified and you can do anything, it's nothing but positivity from that point on. But you've got to unify. You got to put away all of this and do this, because until you do this, we're not going anywhere. And there's nothing, no shutdown, no picket, no strike, no blocking out brokers. None of it's going to work. None of it's going to work. This is important right now. This unity.
Okay. Well, you have the last 30 seconds to say your point, and we appreciate you coming on. I would wish you would not have technical difficulties so we can really see you. But thank you for still calling back. And again, we're not here to fight. We're here to see different opinions. So no hurt feelings. We are talking. We are all on the same page. You know me. So we have to expose everybody's opinion because we don't want to exclude or include, right? So that's why I'm not here to promote NADRA because I joined them. I'm also associating with other people in trucking. I'm not here to promote. I'm here to actually show everybody's missions, everybody's thoughts. I respect dearly. That's why I told you want to be on show. I still invited you on show. So here is not about fighting. Here's about educating, uniting.
Absolutely.
Hopefully getting together as unity, having enough power, people, right? Because people do change the history, right? And the Rome was not built in one day. So unfortunately, yes, I feel bad for people who don't have time. But at the moment, anything we can just sit and talk about, it's not realistic. Shutdown is not realistic. Lockout is not realistic. Lockdown is not realistic. And this is a harsh reality of trucking. So I do appreciate you coming up. And if you want, you can say goodbye to the guys. And hopefully we'll see you soon and talk to you.
Okay, definitely. First and foremost, I appreciate everybody for having me on the show. Once again, I support anybody that's trying to bring a change to trucking. Whether I agree with you or not, just being active, you have my respect. I do agree. First, let me say I do agree that something has to be done in the legislative area. We do need to get our laws changed, but I do think that this is a multi-pronged, approach that. Right now we shouldn't just turn our backs on our brothers and sisters out here that might not make it the next 2 to 5 years, 6 years, 2 years, or however long it takes us to get these laws changed. I do believe that we should all be active, and we should do more than just continue to just haul our oppressors' freight and stand with our hands tied and hope that things get better and pray that we all make it. I feel like we should get active and ensure that we all make it and ensure that our brotherhood survives, because that's what this is. And once again, like the great people on this show said, you know, to the world, we're not going to get anything done without unity. I agree with them 100%. My idea doesn't work without unity, and neither does theirs. Nobody's works without unity. So that is the first step. But I do just want to, say and enforce and reinforce that it's not a handful of us, or this group of people gets to make it and the next group of people doesn't, or whatever. Or this group of people gets to be involved because they have a little piece of change and this group doesn't. That's one thing that we're once again drawing a finite line down the middle of the community of trucking, and that's, in my opinion, that's just not what we need. But I do support and respect everybody's opinion on this show. Thank y'all for having me. Hopefully we can get something done, because something needs to be done soon.
Well, thank you, Laurent, for coming up. And I just want to reinforce one more time. We're not here to exclude anyone. And organizations have to unite. Different organizations, people, if we are going towards the same goal and we're going on the same highway towards changing trucking, there has no be, oh, you belong here, you belong there, you belong there. Doesn't matter. You can belong anywhere, or you can just stand by yourself, as long as we are moving in the same direction. And direction should be change trucking for better. You agree, guys?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
We welcome any association. We welcome any member. Listen, if you got another trucking association, you want to talk to me, you want to talk to Charles, you want to talk to Jason, we can work together. We're not shutting everybody off. We're not drawing a line in the sand and saying you can't, either you're with us or you're against us. We want to work with you. We want that unity. We're not telling everybody, I'm sorry, if you're not a member here, you don't belong here. No, that's not the way this is going to run. This is not the way it's going to operate. We want to work with you. We want to know where you stand. We want to know everything we can do to work together. We have a lot of commonalities that are coming up down the road. We want to work with you. We're not going to cut you out. We're not throwing you out to the wolves. Come join the pack, or we'll come work with you. One or the other, we will find commonality ground and work together. We may ride your coattail one day. You may ride ours another. You just never know nowadays, but unity above all else. Unity above all else is what we need.
And hopefully in the end, we did still show the unity. We can
Absolutely.
have hidden the conversation and everything else. And believe me, guys, I do appreciate you jumping 30 seconds even after I already started show, because it just shows that you're ready to change, and I appreciate. And hopefully we can spread the word, start showing the results. And let's go back to this. This is our first mission, that positive mission, and that's
Absolutely.
what we're gonna do. Thank you, guys. Enjoy having you. I'll see you in the next meeting. I'll see you on the other missions, and let's change trucking for better. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. So here it goes, guys, right? We have different people. We have different nationalities. We have different organizations in trucking. Unity is helping us to change trucking for better. And we are here not to fight. If any of you want to come to the show and share your opinion, if any of organization want to sit down on a round table, we can do that, because our main mission is to make sure that thousands and thousands of owner-operators, small businesses, are surviving in America. America is a land of opportunity. It's built on a small businesses, and we need to get united so that people can afford to their families, that people can support their families, that their kids are fed. And that's what is important. We're not here to sit and pick on each other. We're not here to take the sides. But I can tell you this, you need to have action. And action starts with motivation. Action starts with action, going and doing, right? I could have just sit now and finish drinking probably some champagne with my friends, but I'm taking time out of my day to try to spread the word, right? These two gentlemen, it's a holiday week. They jump because they know that they want to switch. later on have been teaching people. He's successful. His wife is dispatching. I know them. They're a great couple. They're hardworking people. He has a strong opinion. He has respect, and I have respect back. But we have to show everybody that we can get united. No matter which organization you belong to, no matter how long you've been driving, no matter what, if you are struggling or not, because some of you think that you're not struggling because if your equipment is paid off, if you have better insurance quote because you've been in the business for longer, well, you're still struggling because your profit margin is so low that it is affecting your securities, right? So you don't have that extra money you can put aside for your pension, for your kids, for education. So all of us are struggling in trucking. But let me finish on this note. Most of you know that I am 100% Ukrainian, and you can see that unity can win. Look at us fighting with the help, and I'm very thankful for every American who is supporting our country, because this fight is not just for our country. This is a way bigger picture. But unity, that's what moves mountains. Unity and people. And I want to finish on this note. Let's get united. Let's stop fighting. Let's be bigger than politics. Let's be bigger than FMCSA. Let's be bigger than all of this lobbying. Let's get united, and we can see the change. How soon? It's going to be up to you. But again, as a mom, as a person who wants to make sure that we have positive missions, and this is one of them, I want you to remind that we are sending trucks next week, December 1st to 4th to 4th. Here's the address. You can put a note here. They have to be clear wrapped. Make sure you do not put the fancy packages because this has to go through security. And me personally, I will be flying to Washington, D.C. following week because I do want to do my stream live right in front of Department of Transportation. So I'll see you guys soon. Love you.